Good morning and welcome to morning worship. I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hand. From the moment that I wake up till I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Yes, I will sing of the goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so good. Yes, with every breath that I am able, yes, I will sing of the goodness of God. Yes, I will sing of the goodness of God. It's interesting when we read in the Bible about God's love. We think about God as a God that is the disciplinarian that's waiting to execute justice, that's angry when we sin, and is just waiting to punish the sinner. And yet, we read that God is love. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and everyone that loveth is born of God. He that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. So how do we say that we have seen the goodness of God when there's so much that we don't understand that goes wrong? And if God is really love, why do we feel like he's so anxious to judge us? Well, I think if we look in the Bible and see what God has been doing from the beginning to the end, we see that he is a God of love. He loved us enough to create us, but before he created us, he created a world that we could enjoy and that we could take care of. I think I'm seeing the goodness of God in Genesis, but I'm also seeing the goodness of God when David writes, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures and leads me beside the still waters." But even if we get to the valley of the shadow of death, we don't have to be afraid because of the goodness of God being with me. And he goes on to say, "Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life." Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me. The goodness of God is just following after us. And even when we get to the end of the book, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock." God is pursuing us. He created us. He made a plan of redemption. Yes, we remember Jesus talking to Nicodemus saying, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved." You see, there has been a smear campaign going on from our adversary, Lucifer, the devil. And he's been framing God as if God were cruel and harsh and exacting. And that's what he did in heaven, and he convinced some angels to leave heaven with him. Those are the demons that bother you and I now. But God is love. And love, I love my children. Love wants us to live the most fruitful life. And yet, even though I love my children, I want them to obey what I say because I want to protect them from the harm that comes from wrong living. You and I, we don't like it when people tell us that something's wrong. And yet, in order for us to know what's right and what's best for our lives, we have to look in God's word and see what he says is right versus what he says is wrong. So I want to encourage you today to consider the goodness of God. Yeah. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good, yes. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Yes, I will sing of the goodness. Your goodness, it's running after me. Oh, your goodness is running after me. In all my life, you have been faithful. In all my life, you have been so, so good, yes. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God, and I will sing of the goodness of God. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Yes, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever, and I will feast at the table set for me. With every breath that I am able, yes, I will sing of the goodness of God. Yes, I will sing of the goodness of God.